Today's presentation will supply Palm Beach County media specialists with the tools and information they need for a successful FY21 school year.
I'm waiting for it. Lisa's got the recording on, so this one will be recorded as well. So we'll just give it a go. Maybe we'll run through the beginning stuff a little quicker, since probably you've already heard it, but it's a way to get information out, so we're glad you're here.
Right. All right. So
this was our attempt at helping everyone have a sense of direction, and really that should be like a picture of the Scarecrow man in Wizard of Oz, you know, where he points different directions, like this way, that way, because we're all spinning. But we're doing the best we can, and as we find things out or we find things have changed, we're trying to get them out to you in the least stressful way we can. One way is this, one way is email, one way is our Library Current newsletter. Another is our Google Plus community, which is now Google Currents. And what did I miss? And our Library Current website. So if you dip into those every once in a while, you'll catch what we're trying to get out to you. It's a fast moving world these days.
For sure. All right.
And of course, you know, we're all Gumby this year. It's flexibility is the key. And the most important thing is to stay as relaxed as you can and not stress yourself over the things that we can't control. And I know it's difficult, and you're probably sick of being flexible. I know some days it's like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to break. So we're with you, and we feel your pain. We want to help any way we can. Little quote from Winnie the Pooh. People say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing every day. Just a little play on words. We're all doing the impossible, but we have a special group of people we want to be sure and thank. And forgive us if this is redundant, but we cannot thank these four ladies enough or enough times for the work they have been doing from home, from their dining room tables. They have been processing books when they could get a hold of them. They have been helping us with Destiny cleanup. They've been answering all kinds of questions, helping with orders, helping us renew the database subscriptions. They're working hard from their little 13-inch Chromebook at their dining room table, supporting everybody. So if you ever get a chance to talk with them on the phone in the coming year, or you communicate with them by email, do say thank you, because they have worked really, really hard.
They have. We want to start with some recognitions, recognizing our 2020 EMA Outstanding Media Services Award winner, Tony Lipsher at Marsh Point Elementary. And the 2020 EMA Outstanding Principal Award went to the Discovery Key Elementary Principal, Dr. Catherine Lewis. Our winning Battle of the Books teams, the champion was from Citrus Cove for Elementary, runner-up being Limestone Creek. Bach Middle School of the Arts won the middle school competition, with Eagles Landing being the runner-up. And in high school, it was Dreyfus School of the Arts as the champion and West Boca High as the runner-up. Our Dwyer Award nominees for the year, and we had a lot: Tony Lipsher, Allison Moe, Christine Cannon, Rebecca Raddick, Melody Leahy, Alonzo Torres, Suzette Calderon, Kathleen Boutte, Christy Lavigna, Tempe Craven, Raquel Robinson, Shannon Culp, and Kimberly Bauer. It's an amazing group of people, and we just look at how many Dwyer Award nominees we had from our small little profession.
That's amazing.
It really is.
So change could be hard, or at the very least, silly. So there's your meme for that. But we have a few changes of note, because things are always changing. So we're going to start running through them. If you have not already heard, the school district has engaged in its own bid for library materials. This includes instructional materials as well, print materials. It is valid through 2025. This process, it's a long legal process. It's handled by purchasing. It is not handled by library media services. It was launched in a very specific way. They followed the rules, and what they do is they put it out on a special platform, and vendors submit their bid proposal, and they're accepted to the bid or not. Unfortunately, two of our favorites, for whatever reason, they totally missed submitting for the bid. And I'm very sad to announce that we, for the next 5 years, are unable to use Junior Library Guild or Gumdrop as a vendor. It's out of our hands, but that's the situation. Now, if you have a subscription to a Junior Library Guild run of categories and that you paid for last year, that is a subscription that it runs for 12 months. So you've already paid for that. It's going to come to you, but we won't be able to continue to buy from Junior Library Guild due to the fact that they didn't engage in the bid. Updated vendor information can be found on our LMS resource site under acquisitions. I believe it's also posted in the Open Me First. Isn't that right, Lisa?
It is.
We have an electronic Open Me First on our library current page. So you can see the updated vendor list there. And purchasing rules do require that you use, for library materials, that you buy them from a vendor off the bid list. It's not a matter of being approved, it's a matter of being part of the bid. So in large quantities, you can't buy books from Amazon. Barnes & Noble happens to be one of the bid vendors, so that's a different thing. But if you have any questions about the rules of the bid or vendors that you can buy library materials from, you can contact Teresa in our office, or you can contact the purchasing agent who was in charge of this bid. Her name is Janet Butts, and you can ask them questions. That's a great question, Elizabeth. I didn't double check it for first book, so I have to look. I have a copy of the actual bid document. I'll have to look for them. Good question. I'll get back to you. Email me so I'll remember. So there's the directions how to get to the vendor slideshow that I already talked about. So another change, this is on a positive note. GAIL has changed the name of Kids Info Bits. It is now called GAIL in Context Elementary. It has a really great, shiny new interface. I think the kids are going to love it. It'll be something for you to share, the first week of school, get them to explore. This is, of course, elementary. But yeah, take a look at it and be ready to share that with your kids. I think they're really going to like the interface. You could create a little scavenger hunt that they could do to explore that interface. So that was still sitting on your GAIL portal page, and it's just changed in appearance. A reminder, and some of these just got turned off today. Pebble Go Next was a free access, a courtesy of the Capstone Company because of the shutdown. That access has ended, and that tile in the portal has been made inactive. Our Pebble Go subscription had some free pieces pushed into it, one of which was Read More and some extra modules in Spanish. Those will just disappear from our access, but the tile for Pebble Go will stay there. We're still paying for Pebble Go. I'm working through the renewal process now, but we weren't able to add anything due to budget constraints, unfortunately. I tried. Capstone Interactive eBooks, that tile has been turned off. That was a freebie because of the shutdown, and that has been turned off. If you like those books, you can either look on the vendor list, or I can send you contact information for Ann Shear, or you can look on your Mackin.com ordering site. Mackin sells Capstone ebooks, or you can buy them directly from Capstone. If you buy them directly from Capstone, they're going to land on the link on your main home tab of your Destiny page. That's where they'll go. So those are those changes. EdTech is no longer subscribing to Discovery Education. It's gone. There was a bulletin about this, and the link on this slide, when you get the slides from Lisa, is a link to a crosswalk of where you can find similar, not identical, but similar materials on other resources that we pay for, or stable free resources and websites. But that one is gone as well. So our biggest change you've already dealt with. You know that we have Resource Manager if you've been back helping with the distribution of Chromebooks and answering questions about that. If you came to our Resource Manager training that was given by Follett, I forget, 2 weeks ago. If you missed it and you would like the link again, I did email out the link to the entire distribution list, but if you missed that, because it was during non-working time for you guys, you can email Lisa or I, and we'll send you that link to watch the Resource Manager training video. But we are, just to repeat everything, we are no longer adding new equipment titles of any kind to Destiny Library Manager. And we are no longer checking out Chromebooks through Destiny Library Manager. All Chromebooks being checked out going
Lisa?
forward are to be checked
Yes?
out.
I'm really sorry to interrupt you.
So it looks like we're up to 28 people. Do you know how many people were in that other room? 20?
About.
Okay, so we were at, I think we were at 18 people when we started.
Something like that.
In this room, I forget what it was, or maybe it was 10. All right. So maybe what we can do is edit this so it takes out this long wait period, but
I can.
let's get back to the discussion about the implementation of Resource Manager and its use versus Library Manager. And I will tell you that the training link that Lisa's given you, it is a discussion of the functions that you have per your permissions, which are basically search, check out, check in. So it's not a very deep training, because your responsibilities in Resource Manager are basically that. You can run some reports and check in and check out. Resource Manager is not going to require anyone, you or the ITSA, to quote, catalog, library word, items into the system. They will be globally inputted. Right now, the only thing that is being tracked, the only thing that has been entered in Resource Manager so far are Chromebooks, hotspots, and some internet access credits. That's it. Eventually, we will be moving the major equipment from Library Manager into Resource Manager. So schools with a large number of iPads, well, everyone's iPads, but there are schools with a huge number of iPads. iPads will be moved, and so on. Other types of laptops, but it is a process. We've been working on rolling out, building, if you will, implementing Resource Manager since last September. And we just got everything functioning and filled it with the Chromebooks the end of July-ish. So it's a process. So for now, what we need for you to do is to stop checking out Chromebooks in Library Manager and only check them out using Resource Manager. Leave everything sitting in there for now as a cross check in terms of, it's checked out to a kid, or you have records for that many devices, but don't check out any more Chromebooks using Library Manager, and don't catalog any more Chromebooks. Please don't catalog any more equipment, because it's just going to get moved. But if you need to track the rest of your equipment for now, let me use that phrase again, for now, the other stuff you have in Library Manager, like iPads, document cameras, whatever you have at your school that's already in there, you can go ahead and check it in and out until we can get it moved, until we let you know, okay, we're transitioning iPads and so on. But we're not adding any more equipment, because that's just going to be, it's filling it up in the rear where we're trying to move it out. But do not do anything tracking wise with Chromebooks on the library side. Textbooks is under Resource Manager, and you'll see it under the View button. If you'll click a slide ahead, Lisa, I think it has that screen. Now you have View All, Library View, and Resource View. You will not see Textbook View anymore, because textbooks are folded under Resource Manager. They're a bucket in Resource Manager. So you can see the textbooks, you can check them in and out, but they're in Resource Manager. So that's what the little video will help you with, understanding the difference between checking out in Resource Manager and checking out in Library View. And I'll tell you about some reports and so on. But that's what's changed in terms of what you can see. It's all ITSAs now, and all tech support people such as STSTs have access to Resource Manager, and they have a limited access to Library Manager to check in and check out and to see the patron status screen in Library Manager. But they can't do anything else, and they have not been placed in charge of Library Manager. You are the administrator at your school level of Library Manager, and if you need assistance with Library Manager, please reach out to myself or Lisa for assistance, not your ITSA. They're not in charge of Library Manager. And they can't help you with the back end of it. They have limited access. They have much more limited access than you do. Okay? So that's where we are with Resource Manager. And I know there's a lot of different confusing things out there with it, and we can deal with it one at a time. The next two slides will show you some reports so you can run to kind of dig in and see what's in there for your school. You can, the next slide is going to show you how to filter out equipment tracked in Resource Manager using a report in Library Manager. Okay, that's what this slide represents. I got to make it bigger for myself so I can see. This is a way to use a overdue report to identify all the items checked out. When I say items, Chromebooks in Library Manager. Just if you want to see what's on the library side. These are the filters that you would use. You need to turn off everything that has to do with resource, and you need to change your circulation types to match what you want to see. If you leave all those things checked when you do an overdue report, even if you're doing it to get books, to get a report that's what books do the kids have overdue. If you don't uncheck those filters for the resources, it'll show you their Chromebooks that are overdue because the due date was, they gave it to them in the spring, and the one they still have is probably overdue in Resource Manager and Library Manager. So if you want to capture something different than everything in the whole wide world, you need to filter out for resources. And you can filter this down to only show books when you need to make it less confusing to the kids. So look at the filters, and this is a little bit of a help. If you can't get the report that you want, you can reach out to us and we'll help you filter it custom so that it pulls what you need. The next slide are reports that you can see in Report Builder. And I just wanted to make sure everybody caught on to the little code in it. There are 4 reports here. The ones that have LM refer to Library Manager. They are pre-made, pre-filtered to only pull checkouts of Chromebooks only that are checked out in Library Manager. The second report, LM Copies report, is to pull Chromebooks that were cataloged in your Library Manager regardless of their status. It will tell you available, checked out. It won't say who they're checked out to, but it's every Chromebook you cataloged into Library Manager. To see what's assigned to your school in Resource Manager, you use the RM item report. And that will show all the Chromebooks that Resource Manager says are tagged or located at your school. The RM checkout report will filter out all the Chromebooks that are checked out on the Resource Manager side to your students, and it will ignore the library side. So you can use those reports to kind of see what's going on. Nothing's perfect. There's a million different scenarios where you're going to come up with, I see conflicts in this information. And you just have to work through them. And we don't want to squirrel too far deeply down into this in this session because we've got a lot to cover. But look at those reports, look at what you physically have, and then we can get back to your questions one-on-one. If you flip to the next slide, Lisa.
Yep.
These are the main things you can do to assist with the change for now. So continue to reconcile Chromebook returns, physical returns of Chromebooks in Library Manager. If in fact you're a school, there are some schools that never barcoded their Chromebooks in Library Manager. So we're not talking to you. You don't have them in there. So moving on. But if you check the items out in Library Manager, the Chromebook, when you get it back in your physical possession, do check in on the library side, and then as a double check, flip it over and use the service tag barcode and do a check-in item on the Resource Manager side to make sure it's cleared off of anybody's screen that would have ever touched that Chromebook. You just check it in twice, once on the library side, once on the Resource Manager side. This is a temporary situation until we can get this all cleaned up. Please understand that when we started the implementation of Resource Manager, we had no idea there was going to be a one-to-one disbursement in the middle of the implementation, okay? Like nobody knew the pandemic was coming. So it has created multiple issues. We know it wasn't on purpose. So please don't add any more Chromebooks to Library Manager. That's on there. And equipment title records are no longer being added to Library Manager. But the good news is that Resource Manager going forward, as equipment is added there and as new equipment is purchased, it'll end up being globally added. It's not that tedious task for those of you that sat and painfully cataloged hundreds of Chromebooks. It won't be a process like that anymore for equipment. So that's a good thing.
So Amy Evans has a good question before we move on, Holly.
Okay.
Have the new people who were the resource manager, people in charge of resources, been told to do checking in, checking out, or how to check in and check out, as well as check in on the library side?
All I can say is those, if you're talking about the ITSAs and the tech support people, they were given training by the IT department, which is who they answer to, so to speak, or who provides their PD. We were not asked to input any input in that. I have worked one-on-one with some ITSAs that have contacted me for assistance, but they have this about the same permissions that you do for the check-in and check-out. So if you need to share with them that if they physically get a device returned, it needs to be cleared in both systems, just in case, because we're going to stop using the library side and we want that to be as cleaned up as possible. So I honestly don't know exactly what they were told or trained on. I just know they were given training by IT staff.
So, and on that note, we have a question. Who does the district suggest manage the equipment? The STSDs, ITSAs, or the librarians, or is it principal's choice?
Depends. I'm not sure what you mean exactly by manage. Elizabeth, all I know is that we have come to an agreement that we wanted both the media specialist and the ITSA to have the ability to search and to assign, so to speak, to check out and check in equipment. We haven't gotten as far to set a policy as far as who is going to inventory equipment and so on. Hopefully that'll come soon. IT is taking the lead on resource manager. So we're hoping that the ITSA will be responsible for the equipment inventory as opposed to the media specialist. In terms of, when I say responsible for the inventory, I mean responsible for conducting the inventory. But that's as far as we've gotten.
So, and then Alina had a question. If a Chromebook was checked out to a student, not by her, would it automatically be checked in on the library side?
There is no automatic check-in. The only way that can get checked in on the library side is to physically take the barcode and a scanner and scan it on the check-in, or type the barcode into the check-in box. But you really shouldn't do that without physically having the device to prove that you have it back. Nothing gets automatically checked in on either side. It's a physical process. There was a one time, and this has caused confusion, but there was a one time, capital letters, one time snapshot, one day, March 23rd, a snapshot from what they call the Google console or Chromebook console that only the Google team has access to. They took a snapshot of who was logged into what Chromebook from the 23rd back. And whoever was logged into that Chromebook, they assigned them that Chromebook in Resource Manager. So if you see a situation where your student, Johnny Smith, was given and checked out in Library Manager, Chromebook XYZ, and you look in Resource Manager and it says Billy Smith has Chromebook XYZ, that's because he handed it to his brother and his brother logged into it instead of him prior to the 23rd, and it got caught in the snapshot and they assigned it to his older brother. A clear example of this is both Lisa and I have a Chromebook that is purchased by and assigned to us by our department. And we each took one home. Lisa's son logged into hers randomly before the 23rd. It assigned that Chromebook to Dwyer High School, put it on their inventory, and assigned it to her son, Jacob. Because it got caught in the snapshot. So there are issues created by that practice. But if you will, when you physically get them, if you will check them in on both sides, it will help to clear those problems up. The other two things to consider, it's potential a kid could have the same Chromebook identified as belonging to them on both sides. It just doesn't look alike because we did a different naming convention than IT did when they wrote the descriptions in Resource Manager. The way you crosswalk this is if you look up that barcode in Destiny Library Manager, you will see this. If you catalog them completely, you have the serial number there. Then you go in Resource Manager's barcode has the serial number in it. Compare them. If they're the same, it's the same doggone machine assigned twice. So check in the one on library side because we're only going to look at resource side. You may find that they've got 2 different machines assigned to them. Now that's because they picked up a machine and logged into it before the 23rd, and IT attached that machine to their name. And you gave them a different one, so then you need to figure that out. You need to call them. Can you show me Chromebook serial number XYZ with the barcode 5, 2721, 1030, whatever. It's a mystery that has to be solved one at a time. Yeah. One thing you can do to make sure that all the Chromebooks that are in your school's possession are listed in Resource Manager. If you had Chromebooks that were stored on your campus and unused during the shutdown, take them and run them through check-in item on the resource side. Just check in, check in, check in. It'll identify them as belonging to your school. Lots of schools had cartfuls sitting in closets, and that's how they get the record for that Chromebook is in there. It's just not tagged as belonging to your school if it wasn't checked out during the spring. So you might want to do that if you've had some sitting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, have you seen anything else? It's hard for me to talk and read the tiny print.
Yep, all good. I have Debbie Tanner said she has kids with multiple computers checked out that don't go to her school anymore. Is there a way to fix that for them?
Did they? Oh, they left and went to a different school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I have a kid. It's a family with 3 kids. Okay. So the oldest one must have been logged in on 2 different machines, and he's gone to middle school. One of the younger siblings has a computer, but the other one doesn't. And so I guess at a certain point, I just need to have him bring me one of the computers so I can.
Right. So it sounds like the one student that's gone off to the middle school has 2 machines assigned to them in Resource Manager.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how you solve that mystery.
Oh, yeah.
And call that middle school or call the family and say, look, what machine do you have? And then assign it to them in Resource Manager.
Okay.
Even if you have to do it, manually by typing in the serial number, because we've got to get it straightened out. But yeah, that wasn't my idea, people.
Right. Alina pointed out that some of the unused ones on campus were assigned to students who use them at school. So please, please, please check those in.
Yeah, that's a good
on the
point.
Resource Manager side.
Okay, can I jump in real quick? So we had like 20 or more students that had multiple computers that they did not check out. So I noticed that on each of those, you can see who assigned that computer to them, and that they were all Dream Gamble, and that was that one date. So if it's on 3/23, if you look into it and it says Dream Gamble, he said you need to mark the computer lost, as it will check in properly when it comes back to campus. But we located two of those computers at different schools. So, I mean, it's going to be such a challenge, but
and guess
directions from him were to mark it lost for now.
Dream said to mark it lost?
Yes.
My understanding is you don't have access to change the status of a device.
You can.
Did he fix that? He must have fixed that permission.
Must have been at least by Thursday of last week, because I was able to go into those students. I was just keeping track. And then I checked them in, and then I set them to lost. Because if you just set them to lost, then even though it's 0, it's still attached to the student. So I want to remove it from the student. Don't do that. Right. So I checked them in, and then I marked them lost.
Okay. Because the next time somebody grabs one of those and checks it out to someone, it'll tag it to their school and that kid. Now, and hey, Dream speaks for IT. So if that's what he told you to do, the flaw in that plan is if they're all stacked up at that kid's school and he never brings them back, they're just
Right.
going to be lost.
I know.
But that's IT. They don't really understand circulating materials and accounting for them. So whatever. But if you got that straight from Jareem, whatever he says, it's his.
I saved the email.
Good for you. I would save it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And Ellen, before we move on, Ellen asked if her media clerk can run all the Chromebooks that are on campus through check-in on the resource manager side.
Media clerks have the same permissions on the resource manager side as you do, except I don't think they have the transfer item
correct.
permission. That's the only difference. So they can check in, check out. I'm pretty sure they can see those reports in Report Builder, the RM and LM reports. But they can definitely check in and check out and see what the student, when you're on page, if you put it in view all and go to patron status and look up Joey, it'll show everything. Library materials, resources. And you'll see what's checked out to them. And so will the clerk.
All right. Next slide, Holly.
I'm looking at Carrie's question. Mark it lost if it's checked out to who? Not checked out to who. If it was checked out by Jareem Gamble on March 23rd and the kid says they do not have that device, check it in, mark the device lost. Jareem is an employee. He is the person that is basically on the responsible for building resource manager for us on the IT side. He works at the district level in IT.
All right, we're good.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
I know it's a burning issue, and it's just gonna. We'll just help you one at a time with each thing. It's a headache. Trust me, I get it. Okay. So the next one, I think I've already said this. We're not adding any more equipment items. But don't weed anything, please, right now, because we're going to use some of that data to possibly to help us accomplish the move over. We have to get the school year started and the Chromebook straightened out before we can start adding something. So don't weed stuff just because you know we're not going to track it anymore in Library Manager. Just let it sit there. But check the Chromebooks in, and anything you get back, check it in. But please do not weed them, remove them, delete them, update, copy, and get rid of the copy record for the equipment yet. Oh, that was just a repeat. If you want to dig it out of your email, there's the subject line. Search it and you'll find it. But we gave you the link.
I just put it in the chat. I just put it in the chat again.
Yeah, so that's what that's about. Next slide. Where are we?
18.0.
Okay, so we have upgraded to 18.0 and a couple things have changed. You may have noticed that Destiny Quest has disappeared. It was retired. It's not coming back. Destiny Discover has a lot of new features, a lot of things you can do with the featured content, lots of things. And we don't want to squirrel off into all of those things during this session, but we are doing Topical Tuesday, September 15th, and that's going to be our topic. All the stuff you can do to customize Destiny Discover for your kids. And you can even make it the default so when they touch the Destiny tile in the portal, it opens directly to Destiny Discover instead of the other interface, you know, with the basic and the power and all that search. So that's an option, but we'll talk about all that at the Topical Tuesday, September 15th. Follett also has a new mobile app. Just for confusion purposes, they named it Destiny Discover, but you can download it from your appropriate app store. Right now, my big hint with it for you is it only opens Follett ebooks. Supposedly, they're going to work on that so that it will be able to open all ebooks, or it will push you out to, I don't know how they're going to do it inside this app. But now, in the app, that's what I'm talking about. Right now, the mobile app, doesn't open any other ebooks except Follett ebooks. It'll just show you a cover. If you just see a cover and no checkout or open button, it's a Mackin book from our Mackin collection. So right now, that's what it's doing. But there's some improvements coming, they say. But in Destiny Discover on a computer inside Destiny itself, you can search, find any ebook and click the open button, and it will click out to its appropriate reader. It's just not in this app on your phone. Okay, you'll have to have the Mackin Via app on your phone to read Mackin Via ebooks. It works a lot better anyway. All right, I'm gonna stop talking and Lisa's gonna talk.
All right, so you may have discovered that Google Plus is now current. Holly Ann came with this first. They're copying us, just saying. Groups are now communities. It now supports hashtags, and please follow Library Current on Google Currents.
I know. Hey, they stole my branding, just saying. I had Library Current first, and then they stole it.
All right, here's a plug for your local professional organization. Please, please, please consider joining EMA this year. We have done some reorganizing and revitalizing the organization. We are advocating for the profession. We are offering some trainings and a community of media specialists. So please, please, please consider joining. This year, you will get a member badge for your email signature, as well as a mask. And that comes with your membership dues. You can, PayPal info is on the website. Go to bit.ly/EMAPBC. The EMA is in all caps. And you can get to the PayPal info. You can use PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Zelle. All of that is on the website. So thank you to Tempe for creating this awesome website for us. Here is your EMA board for the year. And consider joining FAME. They are your state professional organization. Go to floridamediaed.org/membership.html. They do wonderful professional development. Of course, unfortunately, this year's conference is not going to happen, but they will be offering professional development for members only this year. So please, please, please consider joining FAME. They do a lot on your behalf, and they're a phenomenal organization.
One other little thing about FAME, if you do the SSYRA, they have lots of resources that are only available if you pay.
Right.
And, I'm the chairperson for the SSYRA Junior Committee this year, and I just posted about 8 different author videos that are only available if under that paywall. So if you're interested, there's some really great stuff there.
Yeah, it is
Thanks,
worth
Debbie.
the money to join. Thank you, Debbie.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
They're trying to they're trying to create membership value for you. So that's what that's there for. That stuff doesn't happen by free. It happens by people like Debbie Tanner volunteering. So support your organization.
For sure. Please engage in your SSYRA Junior, SSYRA, and FPR reading promotions this year. Encourage your students to read them. Encourage your students to vote for their favorites. And if you want to participate in the statewide vote, again, that is a FAME-only membership perk. You cannot participate in the statewide vote unless you are a member of FAME. We are working hard to try and do our Mackin purchase, so keep your fingers crossed that everything goes through. We can't guarantee, but think positive thoughts, please. We need those. Read them, promote them, vote for your favorite, and join FAME. Battle of the Books is happening. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like. The pandemic will dictate that, but in some way, shape, or form, we will have Bob this year. This is your tentative schedule. Everything is tentative. We've got to be flexible. We will make this happen for you and for our students. Heather, I don't know if we were able to use lead money to purchase electronic books like Mac and Via. That's a question we got in office hours today. I would contact whoever at the district is responsible for lead, and they would be able to answer that question. The answer is I hope so.
And there's really there's two layers to that situation. One is whether it qualifies for a lead money purchase, but the second thing is where does the money come from? Because it's a licensing issue. It needs to appear to be coming from your school, has to come in some official route so that the licenses belong to your school and go on the Mac and Via shelf that's already set up. So it's kind of two things there. You got to make sure that the money comes out of the school to make it work.
Right. Dot Day is fast approaching. Encourage your students to participate this year. It is on September 15th-ish. It would be a great beginning of the school year activity to do with your students. I would suggest using something like Adobe Spark to help your students make their mark in a digital way this year. So mark your calendars, Dot Day, September 15th-ish.
Okay, I scanned the attendance list. I didn't catch any new people's names, but you might be here. If you are new in the library media position and you haven't gotten in touch with Lisa or I, please do reach out. These are 2 trainings for new media specialists, and you guys, if you get contacted by someone that says, "Oh, I'm new at my school, and my principal told me to call my neighboring school and ask questions about being a media specialist," do send them our way. They can't get their Destiny admin level access without working with us, and we have a lot of information we want to connect them to and bring them into the whole group. So pass this information along if you know anybody new. And we are having a separate bi-weekly meeting for new people. If you go to the next slide, Lisa, it's going to be on opposite weeks, opposite of Topical Tuesday. So let those new people know that we're having a special help session for them every other Thursday, so that they can ask questions about stuff that you guys already know.
And if you were new last year and you want to join this cadre, please email us and we'll be happy to add you to the group.
Yeah, I forgot to say that. Good.
The Open Me First is digital this year. It is on the library current website. It posted on July 29th. It is there. It is up to date, including the information about how to join EMA and FAME and your purchasing, the bid vendors.
Yeah, do take a look at that stuff, because we're not going over that on slides. There's some other information there, just like we've always sent out. We used to send it out in a brown envelope to get your attention, and we can't do that this year. So do take a look at that. So good news, the Palm Beach County Library System librarians will be available for read aloud visits online for elementary media centers and teachers. If you participated in that last year, there will be a Google form coming to an inbox near you very soon. And we ask that you do the same thing that you did last spring. You can use it yourself to ask for a librarian to come into your Google Classroom in the media time, or you can share that with teachers and they can ask a librarian to come and read aloud in their classroom. So either one, share it with your teachers and let them know the service is available and then they should fill out the form. All right, whoever is hosting the librarian visit in their classroom should fill out the form. That's what the library has asked me to share with everybody. And I'll put that in the little message that I send out with the link to the form. And so think through the advantage of this. If you're not aware, the Palm Beach County Library librarians have physical access to all their books. So I have heard from some of you that you're not going to be in your media center because they're going to use it for overflow for the cafeteria. They're going to use it for a classroom. You're going to be on a cart. You might not have access to all your print books. So there may be a title that you would like your students to experience. The library has a copy, and they'll read it out loud to your kids. So it's a great way to connect them to a title that you want your students to hear, and that either you don't own it or you can't get to it because we're distance learning or you're not in your media center. So anyway, that'll come to your inbox by Monday. So watch for that.
This is an interesting situation. Kimberly Bowers, principal, told her staff that she would be uploading 1,500 ebooks to her school's library database. And are these from the district? Do we have details on this?
Right now, Kimberly, our budget is frozen. It's not frozen. We're under a waiver situation. I have to get a waiver for each database I'm renewing. We tried it in the spring to do the spring Mac and Via purchase, and we were denied. I have no idea where these ebooks are coming from and how they're getting into your database.
Yep.
So you need to ask your principal, did they reach out to Follett? Who did they buy them from? Because you don't know. They may have bought them from some other vendor, and that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go into our catalog. They have to send us the MARC records to load them. The only ones that feed in automatically are ones from Follett because they own Destiny Library Manager. They own all of Destiny Resource Manager, everything. So they automatically put those ebooks in, but all the other vendors, we have to have them loaded centrally, the MARC records, to make those ebooks appear in your catalog. So I'm as confused as you. I would find out who the vendor is and how they were purchased, and how we found out they were going to go into the library catalog.
And Amy Evans just asked before we move on, do you know when you order ebooks from Mac and how long it takes to upload to our library?
When they get the purchase order paid, they upload them. So it's pretty quick.
All right.
It's a lot faster than getting a print book order.
For sure.
If it's a P card, if it's a small order under 1,000 and you do a P card, as soon as they get paid, they load them. It'd probably take 24, 48 hours and you'd have them. If it's a purchase order, the purchase order has to get there and it has to get paid. And while we're on the topic of ebooks, I know that there's a lot of, not angst, but I know that we all have our favorites. Some people love to read in the ebook format and some people really don't like it. They love the print. Kids are this way too. They love the print or they love the ebook, or they'll do either, whatever. I really think going forward, even when we go back face to face, I'm hearing so many people report that they are not going to have access to their library, or that their principal has already said they're afraid to circulate library books. And it would not hurt to emphasize ebooks in your purchases for 1 year. I know we love our print books, but it just wouldn't hurt for this year. But the way to make them the most useful is to use a vendor that will, how do I explain this? The platform that you read the book on is set by the vendor. So use the vendors that will provide ebooks on the platforms that are already working well for us. Mac and Via is working well for us. Your Follett Destiny catalog works well. And Follett now has this new Destiny Discover app that seems to work well with their ebooks. Purchase from Follett, purchase from Mackin. We've already trained the kids to go these two places. The tiles are in the portal. They're single sign-on. There's a million reasons to just go ahead and feed ebooks into those two shelves. because it's easy to, we know they're going to work. Having
Yep.
odd ebook shelves here and there and everywhere is just confusing. So, and those two companies are big and they can get you pretty much any ebook that's available. So, ebooks.
Yep. We just had 2 questions about the district-wide decision regarding the checking out of books. That's still up to, we're waiting on guidance from Paul Strauss. We were directed, Holly Ann was directed to seek guidance from Paul Strauss, and we are still waiting for that guidance.
Right.
And on that note, I saw another thing about using sites like Get Epic. Epic is not approved for student use in the district. TCC denied it due to student privacy issues. Epic refused to sign our legal agreement, and therefore it is not available for student use. Teachers can use it to read from. They can project the book and read from it, but students are not permitted to use Epic in the district.
Right. And so curbside checkout falls under that situation where I was required to get our reopening plan reviewed by Paul Strauss, who you may not know is a director of environmental control and conservation. And it's going through extensive review. So we're not allowed to put out recommendations for whether or not to circulate books from an official stance from library media until Paul Strauss tells us we can. So that would include curbside checkout. Also, don't forget that the public library system has ebooks, and you can encourage your kids to get a card. They are now doing, you can apply for a card over FaceTime at the public library system. So the kid can get their parent on and they can get a card, and then they can check out ebooks on Hoopla and Cloud Library. And it'll give them some other access to other books or more copies of titles that we use. And then the Mendel Public Library, I think you can apply for their card online, and they have ebooks as well. So encourage them to engage in their public library systems. It's a good life skill. They're hopefully public libraries are going to be out there when those kids are grown up. They're filling a great need right now. So, and then Title I schools can get the open ebook ebooks from First Book, right?
And that is free. So Title I schools, I highly recommend.
Title I school, and you have to apply. Yeah.
But if you are Title I highly recommend looking into that. It's a great way to get free access to books for your kids.
Yep. But you gotta be a certain level of Title I too. Yeah. I forget the percentage, but it's on the application. You have to be whatever. So look into open ebooks. So our 8430 equipment orders, it's the same situation as if you watched the recording of this training earlier or you went to an earlier session. We're still stuck in the same spot. We library media staff is not allowed in McKesson at all for any reason right now. So we are unable to finish what we do with that equipment to get it ready for pickup. That's issue number 1. Issue number 2 is we've also asked, if we get the equipment ready, can we invite people to come pick it up? And we have been told no. So we can't even be there. And then once we're there, we're not sure when we're going to be allowed to have people come and interface with us. We're not allowed to go to your school sites. If you watch the school board, no one off your faculty except authorized parents or something like that. We're not allowed to go to your schools. So we're stuck, and we're sorry that we're stuck, and we keep as much as we can. We continue to ask when appropriate to see if they've changed their minds, but it's a little bit like a dragon. Okay, you only poke the assistant superintendent so many times before they turn you into a crunchy French fry. So you just have to be patient along with us. We will continue to, the first opportunity we get, that's the number 1 project we're going to do, and we will figure out a way to get them to you. Right now, we can't even get inside the building.
Right. And we just had a question about having books processed.
Can we tell them about the secret parking lot pickup? Right now, we're not allowed to go inside the building. If you want to meet one of us in Publix and give us boxes of books, we will meet Francesca or Sue in a parking lot and give them the boxes of books. But shh, we're not allowed to go inside the building. So even if you send them in the pony's taking them to the warehouse and we're not allowed to go get them. So hopefully that's going to change. I think we're on the verge of they're going to open schools up. And once they do that, then I'm assuming we'll be able to go to our building. Yeah, pause the recording, LOL. Yeah, Kimberly, I should have thought of that. I don't care. I'm a short timer, whatever. Make my day, fire me. But anyway, that is an excellent question. But we have done that. We have. Where did you picked up some books from David Wojtek, Lisa?
I did. And that, yeah.
You met him in a parking lot, right?
I did.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe that's what we're going to have to go to. I don't know. Let's wait and see if your school is even going to let you circulate books before we go, to clandestine
book processing,
book deliveries.
Who knew? Librarians have always been rebels.
Yeah, they think that, librarians are all these no, we're rebels. Rebel librarian. Okay, so a process for weeded books so you can think ahead. If you left a pile of boxes behind in the shutdown that you come back to, that you had hoped to have picked up, it is still, the window of opportunity is still October, November. The request to have them picked up needs to be coordinated with your textbook contact. They need to submit it to Vicki Kornman. I can't, you can't, Lisa can't. You have to go through your textbook contact. Label the boxes with the label we provided. It's in Open Me First. It's in the resource site under sending books to LMS. That really makes a difference. When you're sending boxes to be, or having them picked up to be weeded, they get delivered to the same warehouse where Pony delivers your books to get processed. But our warehouse guys are trained to see those two labels. And if you use our labels, the one that says please process and the one that says weeded materials, the stuff won't get mixed up. If you handwrite it on top of the box, all bets are off. So use those labels. But these have to get picked up when the off adoption textbooks get picked up. Inventory. So originally we talked about waiting, recommending that you wait until January to do an inventory, hoping that books would get returned slowly over some period of time from now until the start of face-to-face and so on. And you would end up retrieving a lot of your books. But I also know that there's clerks on campus that maybe need a task, and it never hurts to do a careful, thoughtful inventory. If you can be in your media center, if you can assist with this, and you can be the one to analyze what's going on before they're finalized and set to lost, it might be a good use of time. Depends on your situation. Well, I have heard some people aren't going to be allowed in their library. But do this. Search your building for library books that are laying everywhere. On March 13th, the kids were at the parent pickup line while Dr. Fenoy was announcing that no one was coming back to school on Monday. They didn't necessarily take their library books home. They left them shoved in their backpack or in their cubby or on the floor. Who knows? And so work with your teachers to round up stray books, maybe an aftercare, any place. Try to round up and check them in. Run them through check-in, and that'll get them off the kids' screen and account for them, and then shelve them before you do your inventory. Because now that they're not, once you check them in, unless you scan them during the inventory, it will identify those as missing. So hunt for the books, check them in, shelve them, get your shelves in decent order, run an overdue report to capture what you think is still out as a record. And all of those items on that overdue report will be considered found or not missing because they're checked out. But you can see from the report, oh, well, they were checked out in February. Chances are, you know, they're at home with the kid or they're lost. But it'll give you a record of that. Please remember that inventory is not worth your time unless not only do you scan all the books in the section that you identified as being in your inventory, but you look at the lost list that it generates. You study it and say, oh, what could I have missed? Where could these books be? Let me go look. Let me try to scan those. Maybe they're in the back room, in my office. Maybe I took a stack of them home. If they weren't checked out, they're going to come up as lost in the inventory. Once you've thought about your lost list in the inventory, well, then you finalize your inventory, and it will set them all the ones that are listed as missing, it will switch them to status lost. Now you'll have a huge lost list. Some people that haven't done it on a regular basis. You need to look at that really carefully and think hard about deleting the whole list. But you have to look at it and judge how confident you are that they're actually lost. What are the chances you might get them back? At least dump it by the end of the school year. Letting your lost list just build up, it doesn't help you be able to analyze your collection, because those items that are lost, they still get counted. Destiny says you have 12,000 titles in your collection. I've seen lost lists that have 8,000 titles on them. Okay, so do that math. You have to be careful if you set your inventory up wrong, or you do it wrong or skip a bunch, you're going to create lost items that aren't really lost. So you really have to think through the process. But if you're not going to do all those things, just setting up an inventory and scanning every barcode in that section doesn't do anything. It doesn't, the purpose of the inventory is to update your catalog, and it's not updated until you do all those steps. So there is a setting in site config that is defaults to checked. It looks like that box. You see what it says? Automatically create fine for lost library materials. This is problematic, okay, because you're going to have a lot of lost because people could have going through your collection while you were gone, hauling stuff off to their houses. I would recommend going into site config and unchecking that before you complete the whole inventory process. If you uncheck it, when you delete your lost list, the kids will not be charged for the lost book. I know you think you might get the money, but very unlikely. And you're just going to end up with a tremendous number of bills to deal with. I would consider unchecking that, because any item you change to the status lost, if you have that checked in site config, it will automatically bill whoever it was checked out to. That includes a teacher. So just my suggestion, but that's, you really do need to get it cleaned up and the loss deleted so it really matches the physical items in your room to as best of your ability with the records in the catalog. Otherwise, the catalog's meaningless. So, feel free if you have time to do your inventory when you want. If you're new at it, please have Lisa or I help you set it up, so you don't set it up in a way that will make it set a lot of your collection to lost automatically, because you can set it up wrong and it's not good. Okay. I think you're up, Lisa.
All right, moving on to Library Current. This is your base camp for all of our information. We're going to have our calendar there, recorded PD, handouts, and more. You can subscribe to the Library Current calendar and never miss a library media event, and everything will be on your calendar. So definitely check out Library Current. It is updated for this year. We are updating it on a regular basis. And thank you, Ellen. She tries to go daily. Our Currents community, it's a great place to crowdsource help. Holly Ann and I are here, of course, to help you as need be, but sometimes you just need help from your fellow media specialist, and you can crowdsource your idea using the Currents community. And of course, that is Library Current there as well. New this year, we have our YouTube channel. It's the Library Media Services YouTube channel. We will be housing all of our webinars there as well. So if you've missed a webinar and you want to go back to the recording, check out our Library Media YouTube channel. And our old LMS Google site, it is still in existence. It is still there. It has lots of Destiny help. The collection development plans are housed there. The bid awarded vendors and all of the ordering information is housed there. So make sure that you are connected to the LMS Google site as well. If you are not, please click or please email us, and you can click to join the LMS Google site, and you can get there from Library Current on the Library Media Information page. This year's professional development, it is all going to be virtual, and Topical Tuesday is back. It is bi-weekly, starting at 2 o'clock, beginning at 9:15. Watch your inbox for a calendar invite. These are the topics through December 1st. We hope that you will join us every other Tuesday at 2 o'clock for Library Current. Sorry, Topical Tuesday. It's been a day. This year, we are focusing a lot of our professional development on the creation of safe and inclusive libraries. Please watch your inbox for more information as we develop our professional development calendar for the year. And let us know what topics you'd be interested in learning about. Fill out this form. It's bit.ly/FY21PD request, and let us know what you're interested in learning about. We have a Flipgrid going about safe and inclusive books. It's https://flipgrid.com/safe and inclusive. Please share the books you've read this summer that you plan to share with your students that will help them better understand each other. And on to managing your library media center during COVID-19.
Okay, we put these slides in at the beginning of, the end of June, the beginning of July. And we were thinking about all the possibilities that could be face-to-face, hybrid, and fully distanced. And we started thinking about what tools and resources we had at our disposal to leverage and make us be able to continue library service. Since we created these slides, made the recording a zillion times, we have been told to have Paul Strauss, we've talked about this, review our ideas and plan. I actually sent him the research from the Realm Project, if you've been following that. That's some scientific research sponsored by OCLC and the Institute for Museums and Libraries on COVID and its effect on common library materials. He found the research pretty solid, but he was having it reviewed even further. So think of these next few slides as suggestions, things to think about, things that are possible, ways to be flexible, ways to still offer library service when you are in your building and you've been told that your room is going to be used for overflow for the cafeteria, and you're not going to be allowed inside of it. If you are allowed to use the media, if you are allowed to use the media center in a socially distanced way, here's a few things to think about. And the district may be thinking about it for you. I have heard through the grapevine that some media centers have been adapted with the plexiglass shields at the circ desk and so on. And maybe they are going to provide hand sanitizer. But these are some things to think about that you may need to do if you're allowed to use your center face-to-face in a socially distanced way. Think about having as many hand trucks or carts that you can. Think about using a laptop and a scanner for mobile checkout. Think about the things that you cannot use because you don't want everyone sharing them and touching them. So student checkout might be out of the question. Makerspace might be out of the question. Displays of stuffed toys that can't be washed might be out of the question. Think about that. Lisa has posted a video showing how you can use the holds feature. The holds feature in Destiny to have people request books that you could later check out to them and take them to their classroom. She's also created a video you can share with your students to teach them how to place a hold on a title. So you could do that and then roll the books to the room, or you could have them out on a table for them to pick up. There's some things there for you to think about. The collections tool inside Destiny Discover is something you'll want to learn how to use deeply, because it'll be a way you can create resources that can be accessed from the classroom. You can collect ebooks. You can put books if you're doing holds. Around a topic, you can put links. You can put even PDFs and so on in a collection. So if you don't know how to use Destiny collections, I think we have some videos, but we can put it in a Topical Tuesday. It's a tool that could be very helpful, continuing to provide resources in an electronic 24/7 way. Your virtual library site is going to be valuable regardless of the model, because it's good to be 24/7 without it being you up 24/7. So that library site is, there you go. We're doing collections on September 29th on Topical Tuesday. But your virtual library, all that work you put into it, it is worthwhile regardless of the model, because it doesn't hurt to have a web presence regardless of whether you're face-to-face or not. If we are distance learning, which we are at least for next week, here's some suggestions. Thinking about shifting things to every kind of online resource you can, changing your book fair plans to an online book fair, looking at tools that we have for everyone, like all the Google tools, or Adobe Spark, Bitmojis, all the things that Lisa taught in her virtual librarianship classroom. Again, think about teaching digital citizenship. It couldn't be a more important time to teach digital citizenship or media literacy, which is slightly different. So those are some great topics to look at, especially elementary. I know you're on the wheel. So these are considerations and brainstorming ideas. They do not represent an official policy or announcement from the district level, as we have been told to wait for direction from environmental control.
Good.
So next slide, Lisa. This is what we care about the most. Please take care of yourself and your students. Look for ways to say yes to things and not no. Make things possible. Create access. Create joy. Create treasures for your students to find. And we all need to be cheerful as we can with each other, because we're all doing the best we can under a very stressful situation. So
for sure. And on that note, we are here to help you. We have virtual office hours again tomorrow and Friday. Tomorrow is at noon and Friday is at 10 a.m. And you can click to that from the Library Current link. And Kimberly, I will try and find out if the Nearpod lessons are only available with the gold level subscription. To my understanding, they are free. And that's the Common Sense Education Digital Citizenship lessons. This is something that just came out. I don't know if you've seen it. It was a crowdsourced guide by educators for educators of web tools. It was organized by Christina Holzweiss of the Hacking School Libraries group. You can see all of the different tools. They are hyperlinked from the index. It's easy to use, and I gave you a link to it. It is bit.ly/epicwebtools. I just put the link in the chat. Feel free to check this out. It is wonderful. It is a great tutorial on all kinds of different web tools.
And it's a great way to see what a book creator created book looks like, because Lisa is working behind the scenes to get Book Creator through TCC so we can use it as a creation tool. So it's a good way to sample a book creator created book, because it's a cool tool. This slide is just a heads up. Our teaching book subscription, click the tile in the portal to be automatically logged in so you can see all our custom Palm Beach County resources, but this is not necessarily custom for us. There are over 1,000 books inside teaching books that feature one of the resources matched to the book is a video read aloud. Okay, for those of you not familiar with Teaching Books at all, Teaching Books is a site that matches, curates resources to go with a particular title, so that you can, if you're teaching, on this screenshot, it's The Last Stop on Market Street. If you were teaching that title, you could go in Teaching Books and it would have videos, the author's website, other kinds of teaching material that you can share and use all kinds of different ways. That's what Teaching Books is. It's not an ebook of any copy. It just so happens that a portion of the titles that are in here have as one of their resources a video with either the author or someone reading it aloud completely, the whole book. So again, when you need read aloud resources for your classes, and there are, see the little yellow thought bubble, you can sort by grade level, and there are middle and high school titles in here. But particularly for your elementary classrooms, because you're on the wheel and you're serving the kids every, whatever it is, 30 minutes, here's some read aloud resources. And I will put a, let's see, let me copy this link. Paste it in the chat. This is a resource from Teaching Books. It's an ugly link, but it's a Google Doc. And don't panic when you open it. It's elementary at the top, but if you scroll down, it's got elementary, middle school, and high school. Links to titles that have things called an activity kit, or that have these read aloud videos. I pulled this page out of there. So look into that if you're looking for read alouds and full, a full version of a particular book. Helps you. Look at everybody. I'm watching the document on my other screen. Everybody's popping into it with your little icons. So I hope that'll be somewhat useful. We wanted to do, that was a giveaway only for today. Where are we now? We're almost finished, Lisa.
We are. We are all in this together. Holly Ann and I are here to support you every step of the way this year. We are just a phone call or email away or Google Hangout away. We we're the best part of our job is helping you guys, and we are here for you. There's our contact info. And today's presentation was recorded and it will be posted on our YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us for today's presentation of the Media Specialist's Guide to FY21, a blueprint for success. The information contained in today's presentation was up to date as of August 4th, 2020. For more up-to-date information, please visit our website, librarycurrent.palmbeachschools.org, or visit our YouTube channel, PBCSD Library Media Services.